And good morning, Ozarks. Welcome again, Planet 417. We're here with disability guru Roy Rickstrew. We're going to be talking about your work history, and how Social Security values that right after this.
I want to be your disability rep.
Well, I got to tell you, I wasn't ready for the rain this morning.
Oh, I know, me either.
Admittedly, I heard it overnight, but I'm just not in the mood.
Agreed.
It's mud season though, and I don't like mud season. So
yeah,
that's what comes between winter and summer is mud season around here.
That's correct. That's
couple
correct.
of hours of spring. Although we've been doing pretty good this year. But.
Yeah, we are building a house.
Oh, congratulations!
Down at the lake.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
Yeah, I am swinging the hammer, so this is my project. And Dad and I built a house years ago, and me and the boys are building a house now, so it's kind of a family tradition thing. But the lot is either dry as a bone or just slick mud. Yeah, there's nothing in between. So.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. That's tough. Well, it'll be dry as a bone here soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, so we did a little intro bump talking about work history. So I guess they've got to decide what you did before you got disabled. And
yeah, really what we're going to talk about is more so, the ways that Social Security knows about our work effort. And so it's not even so much what we did, because they are kind of in the dark about our actual job duties, but it's the mechanisms by which they acquire your wages, and your earnings history is a little more important. Okay,
so how's that work?
Well, there are a couple different things here. So, Social Security has data matches with the IRS. And anytime that you fill out W-4 forms when you start employment, there's a new hire match that's generated. And this is sent out to Social Security. It's also sent out to the Medicaid and Food Stamps office. And so when those offices are current on their workloads, they'll know that you've started a job, as long as you're on paper.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole different topic for a whole different show, probably.
Yeah. And then anytime that you have earnings, each quarter those things are posted. Again, the IRS shares that information with Social Security. And so something that comes up pretty often, unfortunately, is clients won't know about places that they worked. Sometimes when you have psychological problems, for example, you may have a series of very brief or very short employments. And as a result of that, you might have 15, 20 jobs in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
A lot of times these things report, like the old Swiss Helm group in Springfield before they got in trouble years ago, was Burger King in the Springfield region. And so the IRS data match may reflect Swiss Helm group. When judge is trying to rectify that with the client, it doesn't always jive.
Right, yeah.
But a lot of things that we talk about in these on these Monday morning meetings are based on things I've had in my workload recently that were problematical.
Sure.
Last Thursday, I had a hearing with an individual who has been working at Dollar General.
Okay.
I didn't know. He didn't volunteer, and when we asked those questions, he still didn't volunteer. But when we got in the hearing, lo and behold, there was a work history report. There was a new hire match that showed that he had worked at Dollar General, and there was 2 quarters worth of earnings that had posted. So he's been there for quite a while, 6 months.
6 months.
Unfortunately, that case is one that probably will go from approval to not.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's new work effort and the acquisition of new job skills beyond the medium or relatively physically demanding work he had been doing.
Yeah.
Stocker cashier is pretty easy compared to working as a mechanic, for example.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's one of those times that keeping something from your representative and from the courts is really going to hurt this individual.
That's never a good idea to keep information from your advocate, even if you think it's harmful, because at least if it's harmful and we know about it, we can mitigate it potentially, or at least go, let's not waste our time.
Well, and that's the truly sad thing here is that his work effort is just ever so barely above what would have been permissible.
Sure.
Just the tiniest little bit of guidance would really have changed the outcome.
Yeah, if he'd asked you up front, you could have told him what to do where he could have. And I can see somebody wanting to work. I mean, that's great. We love it that people want to work. But being in a real kind of between a rock and a hard place. If I go get a job to support myself, feed my family, it's in the short term, it's going to have some long-term, really negative impacts.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the little bit of money, we're talking a couple $100 here would have made the difference.
Yeah.
But the couple $100 is certainly not worth the detriment it's going to cause to his case and income ongoingly. And that's what's really sad. A lot of times with disability clients, they go back and do what they can for a short period of time until that ends because of their condition again.
Right.
And so it's not like it was an opportunity to establish a career for 15 or 20 years. It was the slightest little amount of income that's going to cause him problems for a very brief period of time.
Really just because he didn't get the guidance he should have.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he thought that telling you was a bad idea because he thought then he wouldn't be able to do that. So, I mean, I can see the thought process even though it's flawed.
Yeah, and you'll disagree, I'm sure, from the work that you do, but most things that are government related, there is some sort of a but. In every regulation, there is some sort of a but or an if. Things are never as clear as what we think they ought to be. There's almost always something that can be done, not necessarily to work around, but certainly to give the individual enough information that they can make better decisions if they understand the outcome of those decisions.
I don't know. I think I completely agree. Agree completely. If I can get the words out today. Wow. Need to drink more coffee.
Yeah.
But no, because I think a lot of that's the problem, and we'll just take a brief tangent. That's the problem when people go on Google and look for advice, is they get perhaps an accurate, perhaps an inaccurate, but it's a very general swipe. It's not specific to their circumstances, and they probably are going to reach the wrong conclusion. And if they act on it, make a bad choice in doing that. It's so much more. And you're talking about people that are making some of the biggest decisions of their legal life, their disability payments, their personal injury settlement, their estate plan, based on a Google search. Right. And they're going to screw it up. And frankly, as an attorney, I don't mind that too bad, because bad legal work produces expensive legal work that I can make a lot of money off of later. Sure. So, if you really want to make lawyers rich, do your own legal work, because you're going to pay them a whole lot more to fix it down the road.
The thing with Google and Social Security, everybody has their own experience, right?
Sure.
You can type in, how long will it take to get my disability? And you will see a range of 2 weeks to 15 years. Because you'll hear horror stories about people who filed 4 or 5 or 6 times before they were ultimately approved. Well, that's not reflective of the entire system. Sure. That's reflective of them. But the variance in personal testimonials and disability is it's all over the place.
Yep.
And I get these questions all the time about Medicaid and Social Security both. Can I work? Well, for one program it matters, it doesn't. Had an individual ask me last week about a sign-on bonus. It's treated differently from Social Security than it is from SSI, interestingly enough. And one program it's counted when it's received, and the other program it's counted when it's earned. So there's a big difference there.
Big difference.
But you get online, you start looking, you're going to see a ton of people say, no, it didn't affect me at all, because they were on a different program than what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's the one we get where people said, well, my grandpa had a will and we didn't have to go to probate. Yeah, it's because grandpa died in the nursing home and didn't own anything except his personal property. And so, of course, they just took it. They should have went to probate, but I run into that all the time.
And Medicaid's another interesting critter in that respect, in that one of the programs for Medicaid currently, and a very recent development, does not count a retirement account against the individual as a resource. Yeah. And so, you could file for that program and say, oh, no, my retirement account didn't affect me at all. Well, for the other 26 programs, it does. It does, yeah. It's just that one program that it didn't.
Yeah, good answer, Steph. Google, unless you're looking to find a good representative, and then it can be of a little bit of help, not always perfect. But if you want to talk to somebody, call Roy. He's available. The number's right there on the screen, 417-812-6698. I'll bet he'll answer his phone and talk to you today.
I will indeed.
Yeah, so.
And gladly do so.
Yeah, and give us a call. Give Roy a call and join us next week for more of The Disability Guy.
I want to be your disability rep.